Just thought I'd jump on real quick. Let me go get some water. Hold on. And roll the windows up. Hey, what's up, y'all? What's right here? Damn, that don't even fit. 1 minute. Hold on, y'all. I'm coming. Okay, there we go. It's raining outside. What's up, you guys? Thought I'd jump on real quick to do a little quick read for you and for me. We're going to hold up. First of all, let's look at the transit chart. I got my extra device right here. So currently, if you weren't aware, let me see what's going on. Currently, we have the moon in Aquarius. Okay, it just slid into Aquarius probably early this morning. Came out of Capricorn. We got Mercury in Aries, and we still got Mars in Cancer, bro. I can't wait till Mars come up out of Cancer for real. And we got Venus in Aries, and of course we got the Sun in Aries, fourth degree. Okay, so we're in a new cycle, a new season. Happy New Year's! Happy New Year's, everybody! Let me ring my bell. Anybody that's watching, Happy New Year! This is the true New Year, the true fresh start, opportunity to start something that you could achieve because you got the energies working with you. You got the rest of the year to get things done. It's a great time to get started on something. What's in retrograde though? Let me see. Okay, we got Mercury and Venus in retrograde. So I ain't gonna never necessarily say it's a great time to get something started, but it is a great time to get something to start something that you already had your mind on. Maybe not necessarily starting something brand spanking new, but I ain't gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. You can start something brand spanking new because you could have had things ruminating in your mind years and years ago. And to me, that counts as something that you've already been internally working on. So hey, and we got Aries is in the sun, so I feel like you can start anything you would like, even though Mercury is in retrograde at the moment. So what? Ain't nobody that don't mean that you don't attempt to do things. Actually, this is the best time to attempt to do something during the Mercury retrograde. So we're gonna start first with the I guess we'll do the astrology deck. Even though I kind of already glanced at the transit chart. Let me see what's aspecting. Because Mercury is of course conjunct the sun at the moment, even though it is in retrograde. It's trining, it's sextiling the moon. Anyway, who cares? Let's read the energies though. Let's read. All right. We're gonna start with some astrological cards. By the way, if anyone's in here, which I have my thing covered so I can't see, but if anybody is in here and you would like to jump in with me, whether it's for a message or reading or whether it's just to chit chat it up with me, go to my description and click the link, and that's the join link. I wish I knew how to operate this Well, it probably isn't possible necessarily, but I wish I could put things in the chat, and I don't know how to do that because I'm gonna have to remember to say that again in a minute so that people who coming in can notice what's going on. Anyway, let's read some messages though, y'all. Baby, 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 baby. What Brandy's though yet? Let me see. Brandy is an Aquarius. The moon is in Aquarius at the moment. Okay. Um, we got our first card came out in the reverse, kind of like Saturn. But I don't necessarily read these things in the reverse. I do keep these things in mind how they came out though. But Saturn, that's the limits and the lessons. We got Pisces and Saturn right now. Again, that's like you being able to ground your ideas and your dreams and imaginations, making them make sense, and maybe having these things to push forward too. Why my cards coming out in the reverse? Gemini came out kind of like in the reverse too. That's communication though. So talk about these things. And some of these things will be more accepted during this time with, hold on, let me make sure I'm talking about the right shit. Yeah, Saturn still is in Pisces. Some of these things can make sense. Imaginations may be able to bleed over into other people's understandings, whereas before they may not have been able to, because we're living in a new time and this is a new cycle. And just in general, people are evolving and elevating and beginning to see things on a more wider perspective to where they can consider some of these things that may have been in may have only seemed like it could be a dream or whatever. We got the seventh house, two air qualities. Gemini is an air sign. The seventh house, Libra, is derived from the seventh house. That's an air quality. Communication, connecting certain things and connecting them with other people and relationships and whatnot with Saturn. Okay. So what this gonna be about? I got a feeling it's gonna be a good read, y'all. So tap in. Let me see. Okay. Let's pull out. I know I got a whole lot of new decks, but I'm a faithful and loyal individual. I got a whole lot of Taurus energy. So I'm gonna read up out of. I'm also gonna use one of my new decks though. But I'm gonna read. Damn, hold on. I left the deck in the house. Hold up. I'm gonna read out the numerology deck. Wait a minute. Okay, here we go. I was looking at my transit chart because I be noticing that it be raining a lot when the moon is in a water sign, or when there's a full moon or new moon or something. So I was trying to see why is it raining. But which that don't necessarily mean shit either though, because the moon ain't in the water sign, and it didn't just come from a water sign. It came out of Capricorn. So, anyways, I still noticed that though. I've been watching that for some time now, and I noticed that and it sounds crazy because I know that I'm only in one location in the world, and the moon is yet in the water sign over the whole United States. But I do notice that that is a thing that when the moon is in some water or there's a new or full moon, I experience, if not rainy, cloudy days. I need to roll that window up. Okay, so back to the message though. Okay, we got Saturn, which is in Pisces at the moment. These are lessons, maybe even having to, well, let's not go too deep. Let me pull out some information first. Okay, we got zero came out. I think this is zero is in its solution space. This is the full, this is like that space that's nothing. And that gives me Piscean energy to a certain degree because out of nothing, that's where something comes from. And you can only imagine something when you don't have nothing. And that can be something that is created. What's up, Sunshine? Hey, my girl. Let's pull out two more numerology cards. I do have some more cards, but I finally got me some. I'm not necessarily satisfied with them though, or maybe I just haven't got used to them. But I'm gonna pull out of them. But I'm still using the OG deck too though. All right. Now we just had the seventh house come out, and this number seven is incongruent. I'm not sure if it's inhibited or exaggerated. I believe that's inhibited though. So out of that space, when it's time to relate and have new awarenesses, um, uh-oh, it may be misaligned based on the whatever it is that you're relating it to or trying to share these ideas with. Then we got number eight. Okay. Eight. What's up, Xavier? We got eight in this aligned position. We know that eight is like the infinite loop, that karmic cycle, other people's, how do I want to say it? Let me not say all that. Let me not say all of that. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna say that because eight also gives like abundance too, though. That's like when you can go into your darkness and pull something up out of nothing, or go into those karmic loops and cycles that seem like you can never um ex- exit out of, and yet still finding a pattern that you're able to use to create something brand new. Because that's the whole point of eight for real. So let me read it out the book though, because we're gonna pull some more cards. We're gonna also pull, because I got number cards. We're gonna also pull the prism card, which is color cards for real. By the way, y'all, since I can't write it in the chat, I do have my link open to where someone could join in if they wanted to, and we're gonna get to that because I might pull out of the yes and no, when and how deck, and that's more of a specific energy to individuals. Down, look at the bottom of the deck. We got eight. That's blocky, but we didn't pull that one. We will keep it in mind though. First, we had zero. Okay, so zero is in its solution space. The solution of zero depicts the wheel of the eternal life that is enclosed by the serpent, Orobus, in its harmonic and loving way, the wheel of life or wheel of fortune. And the serpent, Orobus, represents perfection, which we know there's no such thing as perfection necessarily from the English terms of it. Only time you can be perfect is when you're being the fullest of who you are, and actually trying to use what you got to get what you are gonna get. That's like perfection to me, because imperfection is perfection. You can't never necessarily plan for something to go exactly the way you planned it to go. But just by you going through the process, that's a perfect scenario depending on how it came out. Because what's up inside of the womb, once it's birthed out, is a product. And it's the product by default has to be perfect because it's I don't know if you feel me or not, but the product by default kind of has to be a perfect scenario for it to even be something that's exerted and become physical. If you can because you got perfect disasters, you got perfect shit that ain't necessarily a good thing. So when I say perfect, I don't necessarily mean something that's like perfect. What the fuck is that anyway? So the main thing is zero is just that space that things are derived out of. And with Pisces, with Saturn, right, the godly language, the shit that you know internally, that feminine um emotional intelligence. But with Saturn being in Pisces at the moment, and that's the card that came out, this is giving me what comes up out of the nothing, what can be possible. And then we had seven, which it is inhibited. We already know seven is like new awarenesses. That's a brand new world, brand new expressions. That's a new beginning for real. And it's inhibited. The trigon moves head first, the square 3 + 4 = 7, which is also the case in the smaller image. So the head being moved inwardly would be like a ego thing, because anytime you have some type of ego or lack of ego, anytime the ego is distorted, that's going to cause either an inhibition or an exaggeration. So it could be one not necessarily, I don't want to say respecting, but referencing your abilities, or maybe you don't respect your own abilities, and not allowing relationships to begin to multiply and be produced or flourish based on some type of, what's the word I'm looking for? You know how you can feel insecure, and then when if you were able to look at the situation that you were insecure about from a wider perspective or from the future, you'll be able to see how why was I insecure in that situation with these other motherfuckers. They ain't got nothing on me. And it's not a thing of being comparable, like that zero I was just speaking of. You don't have to be perfect because there's no such thing as that. You just being you is perfect in itself. And being insecure, maybe because you're around other, it's time to relate certain ideas or certain dreams or goals that you may have, but being insecure with relating these things. And that's kind of like how things can become real by you expressing and sharing certain ideas, or even trying to work together with someone else that can help you to produce or even be aware of something, because seven is new awarenesses. How's somebody going to be aware of what you have to offer if you don't have enough gumption to feel like what you have to offer is worthy of anything? Then we got the number eight, of course. That's the karmic loop. That's the cycle. You don't want these things to continually be a issue. You would want these things. You would want that karmic eight or that infinite loop to be a pattern that is continually evolving, so that eventually you'll have no choice but to move on to a brand new scenario. Okay, I don't necessarily want to read out the Prism Oracle just yet. So I'm going to read out of a book that's going to explain more in depth, like where we coming from with this energy that I'm reading from. And the sun is in Aries, the moon is in Aqua, so the dark deck may not be appropriate. Hmm. Let me see. And I had some more decks up here. I had forgot I had. Girl, I had not girl, because I'm not just talking to one person. But I got a lot of decks I had forgotten about. Which one should I read out of? I'm gonna read out the Empathic Oracle. And I might read out of the Celestial Insight. And I might even read out of the Clarifying Life Situations. I'm gonna read out of that one first, because this feels like a life scenario, an actual situation that one may be experiencing on a daily like type shit, or it could be an actual blockage or hindrance based on not feeling what you not thinking that. I don't want to say that because that's not necessarily the case for everybody, but maybe not respecting your own craft and respecting your own talents enough to even multiply them and work on them. I don't want that card yet. I never had that. I wasn't ready for a card to come out, and it came out anyway. I'm gonna keep it over here. This is Saving Grace and Release Burdens. Forgiving yourself and others heals the wounds and sets you free. Okay, but let me put it back because I really want to pull in that card. Okay, now let's actually pull out of the deck this time for real. One more. All right. I may even pull out of this deck that I have no book for, but I do have my phone because I'm just trying to match energy. All right. This looks like this reminds me of this deck over here. They kind of are similar in color scheme. But worthy goal. Okay. Worthy goal. That's the word that I was looking for. Worth. That's the word. So get out and be inspired to keep working towards your life's purpose. Like, actually realize that you have a worthy goal just because you manifested yourself into this reality. How come you would be here if you didn't? One and one equals two. Well, one and one equals three, but it equals another product. So at that, since that's the case, you just being here, that you have something to offer, and find the worth in it or realize the worth in it, so that you can actually have some type of reasoning to express it. You know what I'm saying? Because you may not see how, because you're you already. You don't realize that people don't have the same thoughts as you, or don't have the same nuances and the same way of becoming aware of a perception or perspective that you have. Even if I know already what you already know, when you tell me your perspective of it, that can allow me to see a wider scope. So how much more is that when it comes to your own ideas or your own dreams or even producing out of that? Just because you think someone else may not find it worthy, you don't know that. Sorrow heals. It came out in the reverse. By the way, Where the Goals came out in the upright. I think that's something. Yeah. And the opposite is fresh ideas, by the way. So this is the upright. Let's go back to the worthy card, the worthy goal card. It was in the upright. But in the reverse is fresh ideas. Staying open-minded, inviting new perspectives to enrich your journey and spark creative solution. You already have, since that's the case, you already have new perspectives that can be built upon or can be respected or can be something that's brought into the open for others. So realizing the worth of it though is the point right now. Because like I said, we have Saturn and Pisces at the moment. Saturn card came out and it came along with that was Gemini and Libra. Well, Gemini in the seventh house, and we already know that. What's up, Shine? We already know that the air quality calls for communication, connecting, relating to something else or someone else, which allows you by default to see a different perspective. Anytime you communicate something or say it out your mouth or express something or create something or write something down or build something, that's a different perspective of what was inside of you. So with that being said, you already know that because fresh ideas is in the reverse. So now the point is to like actually do something with it. Sorrow heals. This is a reversal card. So in the upright or the more solution space, based on what this card comes from, would be hurtful events. So let me read the first. It says sorrow heals. In heartaches, shadows, growth awaits. Let pain refine and not define you, as brighter days are promised. So that lets me know that could be a reason why the ego is inhibited with that previous card. What was it? Was it 7? Yeah, we also had the number 7 come out in the numerology deck as well. So this is hinting towards the ego because in the inhibited 7 card, the top of the head of the figure was inverted inside. That gives me ego being diminished a little bit based on previous sorrows or heartaches or growing pains or insecurities that came from other factors that's on the external view, and that could be what could be holding individuals back or maybe not seeing their own worth or even creating goals, because you can have all kind of ideas, all kind of dreams and things that you can think of, but if you don't deem any of that as worthy, you won't even process it enough in your internal space enough for you to even have the gumption to externalize anything or to share it with someone else. But in the more solution space, this card would be hurtful events. As you endure this period, learn not to dwell on the past. So, why I say so? I won't anchor you down. What? So it won't anchor you down. So maybe it could be people already experiencing some type of heartache and shadow and insecurities in the moment. Because in the upright, it would be you letting go of those hurtful events. In the reverse, it's hurtful events that's already taking place at the moment, and these don't have to be no extreme type of situations. These could be like revelations that you've had on your own time that point directly to traumas that need to be looked at, shed light on, and like reorganize the way you're perceiving them, change the perspective and the angle of that. And that'll help your ego to be able to be more how was I finna say caramelized? That's but that'll help your ego to be more smooth or your aura to be more inviting when you're relating to others or even presenting goals or even having others to be open to hear what you got to say, because maybe this ego being inverted is warranted. Maybe you know that there's something in your Lilith energy or your auric system that's off-putting or awkward. Not to say that there's anything wrong with awkwardness, but awkward to you that will cause like a nervous system issue for real. So allowing this what to say, in heartache shadow, growth awaits. Just like a person in the middle of some um dark night of the soul energy. Don't let whatever that is define you, because just like the sun comes up every day, time heals all things. At some point, you can move on and know that that's something that's inevitable. Okay. Let's see, because this previous Virgo eclipse, it was kind of to me, even though I was able to work through my Virgo, what that was, with a lot of grace. I can see how it could have been. I don't want to say devastating. I don't want to put that energy out there, but it could have been tough. This card came out. It didn't really come out. I chose to pull it out, so I'm gonna keep it. Duality dance, and I ain't never got this card before. I've never seen this card. Gemini clown. Clown. Gemini gives clown sometimes. That's communication. So it says, and it's in the upright. It says, seek balance amid the chaos and find harmony within yourself. Okay. Yeah. In the reverse, it would be steady as you go. Navigate with patience and resilience, trusting in your inner strength to guide you through life's twists and turns. But in the upright, seek balance amid the chaos. I'm trying to see the difference. Okay, so steady as you go would be um like I'm trying to explain to you that it's gonna be okay. But in the upright, you already know it's gonna be okay as long as you're able to center yourself for real, as long as you're able to balance the thoughts and the feelings that you may have towards situations and push through them anyway. Let me see. What's up, nomadic? Right, the sun is how we escape up out of these things. What you mean? The sun is how we escape up out of these things. Probably that sounds kind of correct though, because the sun is how you're gonna act, but depending on how you do the duality dance, because we remember there's always two ends to every spectrum, and then you got the balance in between. So you can be on any side of the spectrum regarding whatever sun you may be, or wherever the sun is at. The balance of the sun, what you say, will help you to escape up out of these things so that you can, because the only way that you can truly find balance is if you, I ain't gonna, let me not say it like that, because I'm not saying that you have to go through quarrelsome and troublesome and worriations and things to actually have wisdom. But if you do have to experience both sides of the polarity, you then have a wider scope on what you're working with, and you can center yourself some. And that's what this card is calling you for. It gets Gemini, and we also had the Libra seventh house come out. But again, that's the air quality, that communication, that Gemini's that those internal thoughts, the way you're actually when you're creating your perception on a thing, being able to create these perceptions from balance would be best, so that once the scenario has played itself out, you'll be able to move on more ungraved, unscathed, whatever that word is, because you've already experienced the whole totality of the spectrum, to the point to where it's not any it's not much of anything else that you won't be able with wisdom to already know and understand is there. It's like having a shadow in your room, and finally that would be one end of the perspective, and then once you cut the light on, you see it's not even a shadow, it's just it was your jacket or some shit. So at that point you saw both sides of the spectrum. It won't be too much that can surprise you. If anything, you may be the one to do the surprising, because you've already experienced it. I have different vibrations in my body. Both legs are different from medication. What you mean? Both of your legs are different from medication. I know that you take some medication. What you gonna? That's a personal conversation. I'm gonna ask you what you gonna do about that. Like, what are you gonna do? Because we can talk about it though. Do you perceive vibration? What you mean? No, no matter. He's not necessarily a troll. I know who he is. He is on medication, so give him some grace. Give him some grace. What you mean? Do I perceive vibration? Are you asking, like, do you think other people can sense your vibration? Everybody perceives vibrations, whether or not they actually are aware of it or not. But we ain't gonna talk. I mean, we could talk about it, but let me finish the reading though, because I kind of do be want to know what you're gonna do about the fact that you are. Let me not put your business out there. I'm a Gemini. I've been told all your business that I just saw, and you may not necessarily want to talk about all that. But I do be wondering, because I fuck with you no matter. You all right, Xavier? Because I get you why you even said that. My body used to be one vibration now, for real. I looked it up. Some people can see vibrations on blank surfaces like walls and screen, especially perhaps a gift. I mean, perhaps it's a gift, but I believe that any individual could embody all these gifts because we live here in this world, and I don't know what you mean by perceiving vibrations, like actually looking at something and seeing it vibrate. I can sense it. I mean, it could be a gift because you got clear audience, clear sentience, clear all those clairs. I can sense things more than I can like visibly see what it was or see a vibration. But if it's clearly vibrating or pulsating because you got a sore and you know how your wound could be hot or it could pulsate. Now I get that, but as far as like sensing vibration, I can sense it. That's a gift, but we all can have these gifts though. That's why I got to go back to the medication. What you gonna do about that? Because I know that certain medications and shit, all of them for real, is gonna block things. Seeing like static particles, like a billion atoms bumping into each other, a vibration. That's like a what's the word I want to use? I don't want to say, damn, what's the word? A mirage. Yeah. That's like some shit that you created in your mind and you can see. Like if I was around you, all like I've never walked up to a stranger or seen something that I've never seen before and was able to like see a particle or vibration from it. But maybe if I've been around you and you catch me at a certain moment, I'll be able to see a demon jump off your ass physically. But that's still something that came from my mind though, because everybody else wouldn't be able to see it. Yeah, that's you creating it in your mind. Yeah, because everybody wouldn't necessarily be able to see it, whether it's true or not. It could be actually true, but then you can go through like psychosis and it just be a part of your imagination. That's why being centered is necessary. And I, since you're the one talking, like, what are you? Never mind. Let me not ask you that. I'm gonna ask you again. What are you gonna do about the medication that has no choice but to uncenter you? Like, and these gifts can be extreme, and they can turn into something that's not a gift, and it actually be like some psychosis because you're aware of spiritual things, or you're more aware, but the state of your body may be off, and you know what I'm saying. It can cause you to be distorted in your perception, whether it has truth to it or not, because everything got truth to it. The truth of it can be rearranged. It could be that you are the one that has the static and you're perceiving somebody else, or vice versa. It can hold on. What she said, it can be true to you and totally happen to you, but it's in the mind, right? And as long as you can understand and center the fact that I know this is something that's internally to me that only I am perceiving, you'll be able to like use the gift. Because what good is a gift that you don't understand? You'll be using it wrong. It's like me having a hammer and trying to eat with it or some shit. It's heightened to senses. It used to be connected to anxiety relief and good dreams might be channeling, but like I said, now I experience crazy vibrations because of medication. Because of the medication, it's throwing your equilibrium off on a cellular level to the point to where, yeah, you could be experiencing something that stems from a psychosis type of situation. It could have truth in it, but the truth can be distorted. And who wants to experience that? Who wants to experience something extreme like that? Even this is like having busting a nut every 5 minutes. Who want to even do that? Yeah, it feel good the first time, or yeah, you may have a important revelation based off of that the first time, but as at some point it becomes wrong. The opposite, the other polarity of truth is false. It's not true. So you probably got to get off the medication, and I know I know because I've been watching you. I know that that's something that's made that don't seem possible. But going back to that Pisces energy and Saturn, it is possible. And after a while of you being on the medication for so long, even if you didn't have to necessarily take it due to a court order or something, it would then be a matter of how do you even separate your own, because your cells has gotten adapted to this foreign medication in your body to where you'll have cravings of you know what I'm saying. But it is possible. It is possible. It's possible. I don't know your situation to like give you like specific advice, but all I know to say is that it is possible if that's something that you deeply don't want. Not to say that you have to rebel, because I know with a court order that may cause jail time. Hey, sometimes you might have to go to damn jail. It's possible though, because me, I don't want to get too personal, but me watching you, I don't want to get too personal. Let me not get too personal. I was just gonna say you seem like you outside of the medication. Of course, if I was to go to a psychiatrist or a counselor, they would automatically diagnose me with something if I gave them that, even if they told me you're completely normal. What's normal to them ain't something that you know what I'm saying? That's still like a diagnosis, because you're deeming me as normal under what standards? So you're always going to be diagnosed with something to some degree. And that should be taken as information, not invite to take medication. Because if I'm diagnosed with some type of mental ailment, just looking at the standard of what they're diagnosing me from or with, that gives me some information on like just how I could be perceived. But I wouldn't take it so deep to begin taking medication based on their standards though. And yeah. Good afternoon, love. Sending peace, protection, prosperity, and positive. I'll tune in later. Okay, Misa, see you later, girl. So, damn. I wasn't really thinking when I was pulling. Hold on. We got summer. I don't want that one. Let me think while I'm pulling. Not think. Let me tune in though. Let me focus. Let me put my attention on the card so the right one come out. But we all have our scenarios that we got to deal with. So that's not something nomadic that you need to just sweep up under the rug and look at as if it's something that'll never change. No, you need to put your attention on the fact that you don't want it, and it will change, and it has to change. It has no choice but to change, because you are the observer of your body. You're the one that's supposed to be in control, not something else, and especially not a medication, and not somebody forcing you. Those people are going to have to pay for that too. But you don't want to be, just because they have to pay for it, don't stop the fact that you're going to endure whatever you're enduring by taking the medication. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to go in on you, but okay, non-duality. Now we already had the duality dance come out. Now we got non-duality. We're going to pull that. That's a number 49, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Number 4. This is the groundedness. This is the sense that you're making. You got to be able to make sense. You got to be able to find the equilibrium after knowing and being aware of both perspectives. Now you're needing to be able to center this idea that you're in. You're needing to center where you're at for real. You're needing to find some type of center. But we ain't read it yet. Hold on, let me pull out 2 more. 4 and 9, that's the ending. 4 is the sense, 9 is the ending. In order to like fully circle that logical understanding or situation or physical experience, you're going to have to find the center of the sense. You're going to have to make it actually make sense. Consider all things, like critically, being able to critically think and have critical sense comes from you having deep experience for real. So you going through the experience. I don't want to, let me not focus in on you. Now we got 22, which is winter. This is number 4. 2 and 2 being that you're relating to something else. 2 things that's willing to relate. 2 and 2 equals 4. That's another 4 energy. 4 to me gives sense, like making sense of something so that it can actually be something that somebody else can receive and perceive. And it's like after you get from the 3 with those thoughts and connecting the dots internally, now you can externally make it make sense by maybe writing it down. 1 plus 1 equals 2, or creating a chair so you can sit in and somebody else can also sit in, because it makes sense. But it's more to that, and we're gonna read that in a minute, because it's also winter. First came out was summer, then we had winter. But anyway, then we got the root chakra. Which is number 7. We got that 7 energy coming out again. The root chakra, this is your survival instincts. This is like the root reason why you go to work and shit is because of the fact that you have desires to produce something up out of the root type shit. Okay, so let's read it out the book real quick. But I'm glad that you spoke up, nomadic, because I'm not like everybody, so I like when people speak on things that could cause them to be embarrassed or something, or if somebody else wouldn't have never said some shit, but I did. Where's the book? Hold on, bro. Where is the book? Oh fuck! Wait a minute, y'all. Hold on. I thought I just had the book in my hand. Oh, hold up. Y'all see what I did with that book? What? That don't even make no damn sense. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna have to pull it out of my phone then. But I need my book. Bro, I thought I just had it in my damn hand. I'll find it. So let me pull it up out of the phone. I'm sure I'll be able to find it. So we first got non-duality out of the empathic oracle deck. Let's see. Number 49. Okay. I want the book. I don't see it. How'd I lose the book? That's weird. Weird. Oh, you know what? I might have put it in this box. I did. My goddamn ass. Here we go. I got it, y'all. All right. So 49. Okay, as we walk our path, this is long as hell. I'm not reading all this. As we walk our path in life, we experience things that are perceived as good or bad. Right. That's that polarity. And when you're uncentered, you're thinking that something that you're doing has to be good or bad. The fact that I'm gonna use you as an example since you opened it up, since that you take medication has to be a bad thing, or they probably brainwash you to think that it's a good thing. But let me not go too far. As empaths, the universe strives to teach us that there is a different choice. Right. You always got a different choice. This other choice is called non duality. Through judgments and labels, thoughts and emotions are projected out into the world as energy. It is not hard to see that the projected experience of most, because of duality, is one of fear and lack or ignorance. Or that also would be like lack though. Seeing is one thing, but feeling this constant barrage of energetic judgment, labeling, fear, and lack becomes very taxing to empaths. Feeling like you have to do certain things based on the status quo or the societal norms, that is very laxing to, or very overwhelming for people who have already experienced both sides of the perspective and trying to find true balance with their spirit and their actual physical space. It could be difficult sometimes in this world to respect all portions of who you are based on like your emotional desires, your in like the talents and gifts that you know that you could expand on but may not have the outlet to do so. So you just have to settle with getting a job or just settle with holding back some of your actual characteristic traits like type shit, or have to just having to do something that's not necessarily a natural thing for you to do, going back to that Saturn and Pisces, those limits and restrictions, and then also being privy to being gaslighted out of the true position that you know is right for you. But let me read the deck. It's not hard to, okay, let me see. It is a lower vibration, henceforth, it is the heaviness that often becomes your daily experience in this world. Yeah, that causes people to be weighed down with the worries of the world when you got all kind of things internally that you can experience externally too, but being able to see the full perspective will allow you to have a whole nother room full of enjoyable things in the midst of what's going on around you that's not so enjoyable, which will cause you to have some balance for real. When you give into the same process of duality, you add your own energies to this experience and because of your power, you can become your own worst enemy, right? Because you have decided to polarize your internal ways of perceiving things based on what they told you is deemed respectable or normal, or this is the only thing that's acceptable. Now you have to like shut off certain deep knowings that you have based on nobody else is going to give you the example that's only that you're here to give. Like you're the one that's supposed to be given the example, no matter what type of scenario that you're in. Real shit, y'all. Okay. Energy follows, let me see. Energy follows intention, and what you intend becomes your reality. See what I'm saying? That's a big ass lump sum of energy right there that nobody can taint necessarily. Like, people can't taint it if you allow it, but you have the power to not allow your intentions to be tainted if you want to, and if you hold strong to those intentions, like with that four, back to the root chakra, we got all these root energies, something that's grounded in into something that that is a whole energy or a whole space that you have control over. And don't forget that, because that's where you can create something out of nothing. You can create solutions where there never necessarily was any. It's something to drop out of the sky sometimes if your intentions are grounded and they come from a genuine space, and that's who you are and that's who you've always been, whether you've always known that or not. Those deep intentions will create something out of nothing, opportunities that can be built upon, whether it is getting off of out of probation, or even getting out of jail, getting out of hell, all kind of shit. You can heal yourself with those deep intentions and all of that shit. That's why I say these things are possible. Let me see. the practice of a positive the practice of positive thought and affirmation can be helpful, but it isn't even that a duality. Hmm. Yeah, because everything has a duality. Even when you get to the center point, you can also separate that space and find duality within that. But then at that point, like that, if you get that far, you'll be able to puppeteer that situation better than you know what I'm saying, than you not realizing that even exists type shit. When you realize that something is bad, when you realize that sometimes bad things happen to lead to greater learnings, the adversity can build emotional strength. And as all experiences can lead to energetic wisdom, exactly. The path becomes one of energetic ascension. No longer do the labels of good, bad, light, dark, spiritual, evil, abundance, lack, love, hate, sadness, and anger control the moment. When you realize release the labels and strive continuously to experience the vibration that is present in the teaching of the moment, you soon realize that in releasing, heaviness is replaced with that which is full of light or lighter energy or absence. In this absence of intention, this energy is free to be used on your journey forward. It's how I have labeled my life to become my reality. It's how I have labeled my life to what? Is how I have labeled my life to become my reality. I don't know what the fuck they saying. But I guess what they're saying is, how have you labeled your life in a way that you're not necessarily wanting to become your reality? Like, if you really think about the label that you're accepting, whether you've labeled yourself that or not, but if you know that people perceive you a certain way, and if you accept that, is that something that you actually want to accept? That's something that you actually want to be perceived as? Because if it's not, no, it don't matter how they perceive you. You perceive yourself and you behave based on what your own self perception is. You'll project that out. Am I happy with that reality? How am I labeling this situation? Put your own label on it, and don't let what you're labeling or your intention be tainted by others' perception, unless that's something that you welcome yourself. What emotions do these labels elicit? Right. So if you don't know if you appreciate these labels, just think about it for a minute. Now, I know this person looks at me like that. They do all these, this a whole community, or everything in my reality perceives me a certain way. How do you feel about that? Everything is always happening in your favor, really. When you shift it to this state of being, you're able to broaden your awareness, right? Even if the things that happen to you seem negative or hurtful, realize that it's happening for a reason that is building up who you are. And then at that point, that's androgynous. You'll be able to be the one to decide whether it's going to go this way, or is it going to go that way type shit. And once you go through those emotions of how you're being perceived, what are these emotions? Where are these emotions getting stuck? And do references legs. So it could be, and legs is your Sagittarian, and well, not necessarily the legs, the thighs are. What is your calves? Your calves is your Aquarius energy. So this could be like for him specifically, that could be like his morality system, or his what he has collected over his life, and how he looks at, or how do I want to say it, or his wisdom could be inhibited, or the Aquarian energies could be inhibited. But let's not get too specific. I just like to use everything as examples to make you be able to come to your own conclusions, because you know the example that I'm using is not necessarily you, but you know that this is something that you have too. You got legs too. Okay. Next we had, what came out next? I think 7 came out next. And back to the number, the non-duality with the number 49, making sense out of something. You have to have the complete cycle, because 49, 4 is the sense, 9 is the completeness. So both of these energies together will allow you to really be grounded in what makes actual sense, and nobody will be able to tell you shit. And in fact, they'll have to agree at some point, because they live here too. They know that only makes sense, and if they don't, they're gaslighting you. And fuck them then, and move on and find you somebody with like minds, Moon and Aquarius. Okay, so that could be a hindrance too with that calf energy that may be causing you some disdain or whatever. Finding other people with like minds may be difficult or may be inhibited. But I'm not talking about everybody. I'm just talking about nomadic. So let me move on. Okay, so the root chakra. Your root chakra. Okay, first of all, in my passion, I realize my right to be here. And from this, I recognize the creative seed that is who I am. The root chakra, your root chakra is your connection to the earth. And from this place, the energy of physicality is taken in. This is the fuel that mobilizes manifestation, passion, physical healing, and the feel good sensation that washes throughout your body, making you feel alive as a powerful force. Which, and then, okay, did this come out in the reverse? I don't know. Okay, I don't think so. As a powerful force, which through history has been much maligned, yeah, feared or craved, it is not hard to see the many lessons that reside in your experience of this chakra. So it's saying like that root chakra is connected to sexuality, desires, and people can take that and polarize it too far to the right or the left and get some negative connotation. What's the word? Connotation or perception, like a general perception of something that's root. I come from the root chakra. I'm in Mobile, Alabama. You can't tell me this is not the root chakra. I growed up here. I know this is the root chakra. And you know, people be saying all kind of stuff about Alabama, for an example. That's not necessarily the truth. When the root chakra is where your whole being derived from. In order for you to get here, somebody had to be playing in somebody's root chakra. These, they sense the gentleness. Hold on, where am I at? As dynamic energy movers with a strong earth connection of innocence, animals are often attracted to empaths, spirits in the body. They sense the gentleness and inner loving nature and feel safe in an empath's presence. This brings much joy to an empath. Human interaction. What's the point though? What's they trying to goddamn get to? Often this is perceived as chemistry or passion. This can start the beginning of a physical relationship. Okay, let me read it. Let me not be impatient. Because we did have the number 7 energy come out, which is relating. So if you got a good root chakra, well, even if you don't, whatever your root chakra is, that must be what's going to draw the like-minded individuals around you to, not even like-minded. That's what's going to draw the connections to you based on what's in your root. Because what's in your root will always be with you, and it's going to end up being a part of your aura system too. Because all things are intertwined. Even your root chakra is connected to your aura, and whatever that is, that deep that deep seeded characteristic, well, that deep seed is going to always be something that's coloring who you are in your behavior, your characteristics, and your aura. So whatever that is, if you can align it, because like I said, you have duality of all things. So even though you have a root chakra that came from whatever space it came out of, it also has a polarity too. And once you're able to see the full scope of all of those things that only you can see, you'll be able to center it and make it be something appeasable to other people, and something that can be relatable to the external environment that you're in. Hold on, where I'm at, because I skipped a lot. You must always be cognizant of the sharing of your root energy. Hold on, I skipped a lot. Let me start over because it was getting lame. But let me start right here. Physical connections to others and relationships can be very positive and powerful, but if the root energy is abused or taken without permission, soon the experience takes the relationships on a dark and negative road. As an empath, you must always be cognizant of the sharing of your root energy. Okay. So it's saying that you need to be aware of who you are giving, who you need to be aware of your genuine energy, because root chakra also gives me some genuine root energy. And not because what I was about to say was you need to be careful of who you share that with, but I'm not going to say that. What I should have, what I think would be better for me to say is just be aware of being genuine, that you are operating out of certain aspects of all of these chakras, including your root chakra, so that once you're aware of it, you'll be able to kind of like um scale it better in the moment. You'll be able to present it and behave and express your characteristic traits in a aligned, centered way in the moment. Not to say that you hide any of these things. If you have healed these things, then you'll be able to express them all. Even if you haven't healed these things, still express that shit. Well, I ain't gonna say that. Yeah, even if you haven't healed these things, just be cognitive and be aware that they exist and reside in you. What's up, Crystal? Because of this higher knowing of Earth's energy, the deep innocence and playfulness can be perceived as weakness. Right, that probably would be like a polarity perspective of the root that comes more from the more things that's not necessarily status quo type shit. Um Empaths are often attracted to and attracted by the narcissist early on in their lives. Why are we talking about that? This ultimately serves as a tool for discernment and teaches major life lessons that serve to empower you to navigate a healthier knowing or self. Okay, it may be true, but you also could be the narc yourself, because like I said, all things are intertwined. So that may be harder to unravel if you are the narc, or you are in a position unknowingly that you are being perceived as. Okay, because we were talking about the outer perspective. Sometimes you can be perceived as something that you're not even aware that people are even perceiving you as, and then that's even harder to be able to be aware of certain parts of your energy. But that's the reason why the shadow work is so necessary, because no, because a person can be perceiving you in ways that you're not aware of, and not even true. What they're perceiving is not even true, and at that point, don't even fucking matter what they're perceiving. And it doesn't matter if you're aware of it. I mean, it is always a good thing to be aware, but sometimes it's not necessary to be aware of how a person may think of me when that's not even true. And bitch, who are you? Like, you're not even important, so fuck out my face. But that's not the point. Let me see. This ultimately serves as a tool for discernment and teaches blah blah blah. The right to an empath. What? Okay. The right to be here can also be challenged because of overwhelming outside energies that are absorbed by our bodies. Often physical pain, damn, is felt without an illness or trauma being present to give it meaning. This can create worry and add to energies of disconnecting from the root. Okay, because we just came out of that Virgo eclipse. And Virgo, deals with the physical body too, like ailments and things like that. And sometimes variation can cause ailments. And actually you're creating a problem where you're actually going through the process of creating a problem when you worry a lot, and then you feel a ache or a pain. Now you're worrying about that. Instead, you might can realize that all of these aches, pains, and ailments come from my internal space, and let me redirect my shit so that this ailment won't begin to accumulate into something that I actually need to go to the doctor for, type shit. This can create worry and add to the energies of disconnecting from the root. And that'll cause you to disconnect from your root. Because if you want to look at the ailment or the whatever the case is, whether it's a worrying whether it's an actual situation of bills or something dealing with the survival element. You disconnect from the, it's easy to disconnect from the root because now it's extreme, it's polarized as hell. You got two sides of each spectrum. But if you're in a fight or flight survival mode, you're gonna run to one end of that perspective, and because it's a matter of survival at that point. And that's why I'm saying it will disconnect you based on how others perceive you, and you actually taking it in as if it actually fucking matters. And it does matter sometimes, because sometimes it helps you to be, it serves as information. It helps you to be aware of things that you may not necessarily been aware of. But don't take it in. Observe that characteristic that they're deeming you to have, and don't find it inside, but still accept that that's who I am. Now, if you didn't find it inside of your own self, then don't accept that. But like I said, sometimes you can lack awareness of yourself, especially if you are on medication, a heavy amount of medication. Then they got you where the fuck they want you at. They want you to be in a space of no self-awareness so that they can experiment on you, they can control you, and then that will go back to that energy that they was talking about, empaths being prone to having narcissists around them. But I also want to add that you can be the actual narc, because I don't know why this book is clarifying that as if somebody is in a vulnerable position all the time. We not, I mean, some people can be, but we're not claiming that though. So I didn't necessarily like how the book kind of like pinned it all the way down to, this whole book pins things down to you being an empath, which is some type of social, new social construct that I don't agree with. Like, I don't subscribe to that shit. Where my water at? Okay, this can create worry. Okay, I read it. It's hard to like your body when you are in pain. Understanding your curative power, I don't know what that word is, curative power of the root, and believing in your right to physically be here will quickly add to your enjoyment of the earthly journey. So okay. Somebody may be going through some physical upheavals, some ailments, or um sick, being fearful of something happening or having a disease or some shit. Don't let your, if you continue to allow your root chakra to be thrown off, it's going to perpetuate whatever that ailment is. So try to find some center. That is the point. Okay, let's move to number 22, winter. And after this, I'm gonna dip. They got the new lazy say hi button. I see, right? All you gotta do is click the button. So disingenuous to a certain degree. I be clicking it too, but I be like, man, that shit was lame as hell. I'm gonna delete it because it looked lame. But anyway, it's disingenuous though. They see what I'm saying. They want you to be in a position of where you have to be disingenuous based on you not knowing who the fuck you are, or not thinking that you have any self, not finding your own self-worth. Because back to these cards over here with the worthy goal, they don't want you to even think that you are capable of succeeding. And when I say they, I'm talking about whoever or what, it ain't even they as physical people. It's like the energies that have been created in this reality, the golems that we have over generations and decades and centuries have created as a spiritual body type shit, if you follow me. That's the they that I'm talking about. I'm talking about this upside down ass world that we created, even physical people. Because most people abide to the upside down systems that we are in. Like, they look at that shit as respectable. And if you're not upside down with them, then you need to be casted out and shit like that. Yeah, because like being an empath is like letting all the energy in without an inner boundary, exactly, or a lack of knowing how to decipher your own energy and others. And they trying to make it seem like, and see, that's the they trying to even make it seem like in this self-help situation, you need to feel like you're unworthy. Because how come I got to look at it from a empathic perspective? Why I can't look at it, because I don't like the word empath necessarily being used all the time, because that is polarizing. At some point, you're psychopath. Like, it ain't all about being empathic, because at some point, I'm just living. And whether I have inner senses or not, like, I don't know. Okay, now number 22. I just hate the polarization of shit. That's why I say even this book is a form of they. So you got to be able to decipher yourself, decipher things from yourself for yourself from like a genuine position or a root position. Like if I read a word that has 100 different meanings, what did it mean in the moment though? And then if it's in a book, the book has no cognitive. You're not cognitive of the fact that the sentiment of what the book was saying, unless you're actually like centered yourself and or kind of like tapped in. And I don't want to say tapped in because that ain't even a thing for real. You already use that. You hear, ain't it? You got thoughts, you got feelings, you tapped in. It just may not be centered and fully understood from you if you haven't like found that genuine space within, I guess. I don't even know how to word that shit. But anyway, for many, number 22, for many, the time of winter can become a challenge energetically. Absence of life, temperance, temperature change. One more thing. Just like the book is always, or anything is always trying to make you look at things in a certain perspective, you're supposed to look at that perspective, look at the other perspective too, and then figure out what the truth is for you though. And take that in. Don't take because me read because the fact that winter came out, winter already has a sentiment of being depressed type shit. I'm not finna read or you're depressed. I ain't finna read that. Like most tarot readers like take shit and go on with it where you got a lot of people that could be watching you. Everybody don't want to be looked at as goddamn depressed. And anyway, the center point of that is for you to disconnect. You're not supposed to identify with these things though. Even if you are depressed, don't identify with it so deeply to where now you're actually have a self-belief inside of yourself that you are depressed. Even if that's the case, like you don't identify with that because you're supposed to forever change and forever evolve. And you want to get stuck in a mentality or a sentiment that was only for the moment just because like it was programmed inside of you and actually you programmed the shit in yourself. But anyway, empaths unfold emotions, hence light workers. This depression, tired and uninspired, right? Inspire yourself. Close your eyes and think of it. Tell your spirit, find me something to be inspired about. Now you ain't depressed no more, but now somebody has labeled you with depression. You're labeled with depression. Take depression medication, and that's something that you could change on your own. Now your chemical your cellular structure is like on a cellular level has been distorted. Now you got a whole lot more work to do where that wasn't even necessary. There's beauty in winter to put an end to things that's just a part of the cycle, right? Let me see how they say it though. For many, the time of winter can become a challenge energetically. Absence of life, temperature, change, and the feeling that everything is preparing for rest soon presents an environment that seems bleak and void of the excitement or busyness. But this seasonal change is also a teacher of knowing that there are gifts found in the winter stillness. Often in our day-to-day grind, we forget where we have come from and what we have accomplished, losing the vital knowledge of what, and that's that root chakra energy where you came from. Losing the vital knowledge of what works and what does not. And sitting with this knowledge, an opening gets created, and in stillness, a new seed will soon appear, presenting opportunities for new beginnings just because you planted that seed. Um, Based on you not forgetting that this too will pass. You can't forget that shit gonna change even when that's the last thing you expected. Like it ain't no way around that. You're gonna breathe a brand new breath every moment, every other moment. You're gonna experience a brand new moment no matter if as long as you're alive. So don't ever think that what you could be going through is what it is. And you allow that deep black ass rotten seed to be planted in your heart and in your aura system and in your soul and in your spirit. No, you if you're gonna fight against anything, you fight against that fact. You get your ass up when you don't feel like getting up. Even if you're hurting, get your ass up, do something. Cause that in itself will change the whole dynamic of what's gonna unfold next. And keep doing that, keep doing that. That shit but in a year or a week or a month or whatever, you're not gonna be in the same position. Even if you didn't get your ass up, you still won't be in the same position, but it won't be to your liking though. You be the controller. Can I allow myself to feel the wonder that presents in stillness? Right. Am I giving into perceptions that are uncomfortable and losing my light within? Does a prolonged time of seemingly no movement make me uncomfortable? Do I need to consistently be doing something, filling a void with busyness? Because what am I avoiding? Right. What the fuck are you avoiding? If you're gonna be busy on whatever the fuck that is that you seem like you can't that won't release you from the anxiousness or whatever the fuck that is. And if you can't deal with that, I mean, you of course you got to continue to keep busy. I think busy, like this time about don't be busy. I think busyness when you're in a state of depression is kind of a positive thing sometimes. But I guess if you're trying to escape whatever it is that you're needing to face by keeping busy, because some people do that. I don't have that. My energy ain't set up like that. I wish it was, because I got a homegirl. When she get frustrated, mad, sad, depressed, all she do is clean up. And when I get upset, mad, depressed, I ain't finna clean up shit unless I force myself. She may have to force herself to be still and sit with her thoughts and emotions. I may have to force myself up out of my thoughts and emotions to go ahead and deal with life. So, however it works for you. So, we ain't gonna say that's why I don't be liking these goddamn. Well, I ain't gonna say I don't like them. I use them as a reference only to see where we at with it, not to necessarily define what's the fuck going on. I have to take my own discernment. Okay, now, yes, the season is transition as we transition within, right? So look, should I do this? Because I'm kind of tired for real. Because y'all know I got my open panel open right now. And we do have the yes or no, when, and how deck. I've never read out of this. The whole concept of this deck, I'm not sure if I agree with it or not, though. But I haven't read out of it, so I ain't going to judge it necessarily already either. But what I mean by the concept of this deck, I don't know if I agree about, is the fact that it's telling you yes or no, when, and how. It's kind of pinning down something that may not be able to be pinned down. But since I have a gift for discernment, I'm sure that I can still make it, or we can still bring some clarity, even if it's trying to pinpoint an actual day, because it'll go down to the seasons, to the day. It something will be in a week or two, or 7 8 months, 2 3 months, 1 or 2 days. So I'm gonna give y'all, what time is it? Damn, I don't got my clock. I'm gonna give y'all, okay, it's 12:10. I'm gonna give y'all 3 minutes. At 12:13, I'm gonna end the live. But if you want, I can pull your card out of the yes, no, how, and when deck. And it can be a specific message. And I'm gonna use my discernment too to give you more details or brainstorm with you. But if you want to, I can pull one of these cards for you. And to give you an example, I'm gonna pull one now. So think of a question then for your own self. Just think of a, can you pull me one? Yeah, okay. Now you can click the link or you don't got to. Think of a question. If you want to click the link, we get specific. But for anybody, just think of a question that you have, and here go the answer. The answer is no. No, the fuck. Look, 2 no's came out. That's a definite no. I don't know what the no was about. You will be flooded with a soft, warm wave of good news, and the news is that you are an amazing person capable of boundless love and beauty. This fosters your sturdy desire to act and inventively overcome many unresolved issues. It's what you excel at. Okay, so whatever that is, the no, that's kind of saying no, it's not going to work, because actually there's something that's more aligned with your energies that you may need to be on, instead of whatever the question was. Evidently whatever the question is, it's actually rejecting you, because it's something else that's more of a fit, and you'll be able to find this inventively. Moon being in Aquarius right now, that's that inventor energy. Overcome many unresolved issues. It's what you excel at. Okay, what the other note say? Because we got two came out. A whirlwind of events. Hold on. A whirlwind of events invites chaos. Fortunately, I can see that with that damn Virgo eclipse. Fortunately, the illusionary nature of the situation, I guess, illusory nature, that's like imaginatory, I guess. or the elusive nature of whatever that situation is. It may be something that you can't necessarily put into words, or something that you may not, even if you express it, a person wouldn't get it, because it's an experience more so. The illusionary nature of the situation quickly dissipates. So maybe you'll be able to pin it out. It is replaced by an invigorating sense of hope, an inspiring sense of inviolably, what the fuck? What the word is? Y'all, is in reverse. Inviolability and an invulnerable sense of confidence. Troubles and obstacles strengthen you. So back to what we were saying about winter, going through these things, or going through maybe a chaotic event, um, it will dissipate. So maybe the question was something like, "Am I going to have to experience this forever?" No, hell no. No, things always change, and in fact, it will be replaced with a invigorating sense of hope based on all of what you have been through. Once you do finally see the light of day, you'll be able to have all kind of um opportunities that come into your mind, which was going to create opportunities in the external. Exactly. I know what it is. Okay. So I guess you're saying, like, what how the question relates to you, or the answer relates to you. Troubles and obstacles strengthen you. Okay, hold on. Here she going. What's up, sunshine?
Oh, hey, they just do it automatically, or you had to accept me?
I had to press accept. You had clicked
Oh,
the
that
link.
was quick. I had clicked it. That was quick.
Mhm.
um, it's
So you
crazy.
gotta click.
Yeah, the first thing I thought of, the first question that just came to my mind, and then you were just like, "Hell no!" I was like, "Yep," because I already knew the answer, and that's kind of why, like, I don't know, like, I didn't really know what to ask because I really know, like, what's
That's
really
what
going on. I'm really
that's what
observing.
that's what it had said. It was saying it was like an invasive, not invasive, elusive situation. So elusive, I guess, means something that you can't necessarily fully understand, like how to even approach whatever the question is. But
Right.
that veil of fogginess will be. Let me see when that veil of fogginess will
And it's
eventually.
like I don't like having to, cuz if I know something automatically, I still have to go through the steps to change it. You know what I'm saying? So that be the thing, and then it.
Oh, I can't hear you. What happened?
Can you hear me now?
Okay,
I
I
think
hear
I
you.
pressed mute on accident. I never used this before. But I be thinking, like, because I would know something and become aware of something, and maybe I just get impatient because when I know something, I just want it to change right then and there, and I don't. I'll be understanding, like, I be have to go through the littlest of the little steps to totally change it from the inside out. It's like
Well,
I know I was the reason that happened, and I put myself in a certain situation because I was in a certain state of mind. And once I become into a new state of mind, I'll be like, damn, well,
why the hell I didn't know that? Why didn't I move differently? I know what you're
and then
saying.
and I'll be like looking at my
You want to have some shame about it,
I
and
am a life path 3
okay.
too. So I mean when I do become aware of, like, something oh in myself, like, oh when I become aware of a situation that I'm in, or new something, that I be like, it doesn't the situation around you doesn't change, and
Mm,
that's a slow process of
right.
death and rebirth and stuff like that. So that's why I be like, and then when I get a tarot reading, or you know what I'm saying, someone tells me something like like how you're doing right now, and I know it. It just makes it stronger. It makes me want to, you know what I'm saying, go harder for the transition.
And also pay attention to the small nuances too, so that you can have something to celebrate in the moment. Because a lot of times when I used to watch tarot, because I used to mass watch tarot, I would
Mhm.
be the way they portray what the message is. They'll make it seem like a windfall of abundance is on your way. Now I'm actually looking for a windfall of abundance, and when I
Yeah,
don't
like a
see it,
shortcut.
yeah, it's like if I don't see it, then I'm not where I need to be. When that ain't the case, because
Exactly.
if you can observe some abundance in your everyday life, that'll give you the gumption to like know that you could be on the right path type shit. And you won't have to have that level of fogginess, I guess, because that'll kind of give you a little direction if you notice the little shit in the moment. You know what I'm saying? It could be the smallest little shit, but it's still a seed of what that message was about. Take that and run with it. But also, that's why I don't watch all tarot readers either, because they'll give you seeds of negative shit too. And it's easier to see the negative when you're already in a negative space. And it's you'll be able to observe those little nuances quicker. And now you've incorporated that negative awareness into where you're at as an individual. So I don't fuck with everybody tarot like that.
Mm.
I don't even be in
I
tarot
don't
land
even
like that no
really
more.
watch tarot like that. And it's because like I kind of just if I'm stagnant and I see a tarot reader say this is coming into your life like and I know I don't deserve it, why should I listen to you to like validate a delusion or something like that? Like I don't play that because God don't play about me. So I'm
Yeah.
not about to sit, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't like my daughter really wants to be on the screen
See,
right now.
that's an abundance of energy right there. I take everything, and because sometimes, like you were saying, how you may see a tarot reader and they could be on some shit that you're not necessarily on. I ain't gonna lie. I still can do this today. I use that energy. If I'm like in a space that I'm trying to get up out of and I don't see any light of day nowhere, I will take a some high hopey type of message and
That's
apply it
real.
and be like, yeah, that's possible. And just by me being aware of that message, that let me know I'm somewhere in the space. Like I take it like that.
Yeah, like if you
But I know what you're
already
saying. I know what you're saying.
yeah,
Like somebody give you that over extreme as idea that this can happen. No, it's not. Don't
you
do
kind
that
of
because that is
it's like you kind of have to be on the path already. Like, you know what I'm
right.
saying? And then once you give God an inch, then you can start. What is she doing? Once you apply, I'm so sorry.
No, you know, okay. I'm
I
gonna
don't even know what happened. This
pull you
is
a
just
high wind,
goofy. But thank you for answering my question. Okay.
pull you a high wind
Yeah.
card real quick because I want to see how these cards work. If I even want to use these cards. Shit.
I want to
Okay.
see what I
High
want to
wind.
be
Okay.
accountable. You know what I'm saying? This is so
I'm gonna pull
goofy.
a high wind card. So I'm looking at it like when is the clarity going to become like more available because I know there's sometimes and a lot of this fogginess be coming from previous
Thank you.
indoctrinations and shit, so societal norms and things like that, and having those societal norms and previous indoctrinations still weighing on your like internal knowings, but having something in your ear like, no, that's not it. Because Jesus died on the cross type shit. When that's like when is that that film going to be fully removed? That's the question I'm going to ask.
That
You got
foggy
that one?
ass fart cloud doo doo.
Because it will
Like
be removed. I promise you. You stay on
I
the
really
path,
hope
it will be
so.
removed. It no, ain't no hope. I done been there. It will be removed.
Okay. Cause I'm still wadding it away. Like, damn it stink. Can you please I'm still wafting this shit away.
See over time. Just check in with yourself and realize, oh shit, I really believe this in my soul, and I
Uh,
now actually have experienced that what I knew was true. Like you just said, when you be experiencing these different things and you have to
okay.
go through the full cycle, that's why you be having to go through the full cycle because you got to see it for yourself because there's so many other whispers in your mind and around you that tell you that that's not even the path. But when
I
you go through it yourself, then you realize, oh, that was the path. It's fucked up
mm,
that we got to go through that because it should be.
mm,
And that be my like issue with my personal life in my childhood. I feel like somebody should have been there to let me know like this is the
mm.
like you know what I'm saying to kind of like I'm gonna say validate certain things that I felt that I knew, but when I brought them up to adults, they was like, oh hell no, that's not it. And it's like how that ain't it when I feel this, I know this got to be it,
I've
but then I
had
got to
that problem in relationships as a Libra, and I'm now like I'm learning myself a lot because I just you talking have has had me just realize just now that my self trust level has been inhibited and was just low for the last, I don't know, like 3 years. My self trust level. And it's like once you start gaining awareness and trusting yourself, you're gonna get like tested by spirits who don't trust themselves,
Mhm.
and like they're gonna project that onto you, and
And they
that's
may
kind
be
of like
dominant. They may like be dominant in the fact that you shouldn't trust yourself. Like for an example, a preacher
they're
telling you
deep in
only
it.
trust. Yeah, they so deep in it to where they truly believe that, and now you're not. You're kind of not confident in where your new stances is. Like believing in yourself, they're gonna dominate that. They're gonna make you automatic, and you could be the one that's. You're always gonna be right when you're looking at like how you're supposed to perceive right. Excuse me, how you're supposed to perceive life. Hold on, y'all.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Hold on. I want to read this right here. Wait a minute, y'all. I got an interruption.
Mm-hmm. You could. Oh, I just
I'm
unmuted.
back. I'm back. I'm back.
Okay.
That was somebody talking about. I had a call from. Anyway, it's not important. But I'm gonna tell you because it's weird though. Somebody just said that I had a. Somebody called about me having a child book, a book for children. I ain't never make no book for children. I guess they trying to solicit some type of book publishing company. But anyway, it's. Oh, did I lose the card? No, here it is. Okay. So it says, and I bent it up. It says, if no, the vector of happy accidents guides you in an unexpected direction, slowly transforming your perception of the
Mm,
situation. And I guess the um happy accidents would be like you having to circle the whole situation before you come to your own conclusion because other people are not going to help you for real. They can't help you slowly. Your perception is going to be transforming of the situation for 2 to 3 months, pumping you full of confidence. The right point of view conquers any dilemma though. So you having the right point of view will by default like make whatever the dilemma is or whatever
mhm,
situation that may be fucked up, you having the answers to it is going to conquer the whole situation. Not to say that the situation is going to disappear, but you understanding it and having certain like knowings inside of yourself will allow you to navigate the situation in a way to where it don't even fucking matter because it's just life at that point. You know what I'm saying?
that makes
Cause
sense because I was looking at it reverse. I was looking at it at the polar end where I had that awareness, but I was thinking of it in a negative way. Like I was like, the fact that I become aware, remember what I just said, like the fact that I become aware of something and I see my situation and it's still the same, and I'm in a pool of, I just became aware of something that I wasn't aware of before, that I was in and manifested or would have materialized a situation that was was the same thing as the state of mind that I was in before. And then now I'm in a new state of mind. I'm like, where the fuck am I at? You know what I'm saying?
right.
But but you just kind of helped me click in a way that it was a good thing. But can you describe it again the way you just did?
Okay. Talking about like how what seems fucked up can be good because once you able to like experience even the negative and the highs, now you can know what to like look for, what to expect, and know how to center yourself before it even happens. And then that'll give you the answers when the situation does arrive because you already know. I ain't saying like specifics, like I know that when the light turns green, I got to go. I'm talking about like because you already have experienced a certain type of overall energy though. Like you've already experienced, say, a heartache or something. You already know that you can heal yourself. You already know that eventually you'll feel better about the situation. Or it could whatever the case is, you'll be able to have this, you'll be able to have proof of
Mm,
certain knowings that you know are true. And if those knowings are true, that means when I have these same knowings over here, I know that they got to have some truth to them type shit because I have experienced the negative. The negative gives you wisdom, and I ain't saying that you got to go through negative shit to have wisdom, but if you go through negative things, expect wisdom to come up out of it. Everything that I've went through in my life, I always looked at it like, okay, what was the fucking point of that shit? And when I could never find a point, the only point that don't never go away is the fact that I've experienced it, and now I have a level of understanding of even this bullshit ass situation, and I'll help be able to help others, and then I'll be able to pull myself up out of it if I find
Mm.
myself in it again, and more than likely I won't have to find myself in that same situation more than 2 or 3 more times after that. Because you ain't
Yeah.
gonna find yourself in the same situation that you've already been in 5 times and you already fully understand what the hell going on. You ain't finna find yourself in that situation in the same position though. Like
Okay.
I can be in a similar situation, but my position in it is different. I may be the observer. I may be the one that's conducting the scenario, but I'm not the one necessarily that's finna be taken advantage of in the situation because I already know what's going on. Even if I haven't experienced that specific situation before or not. Even if it's with a different person, I'll be able to, because at some point I look at people and realize that they're just energies operating in a physical body, and they may have the same energies that I've experienced over here with this individual, and I can peep it now. And now that I can peep that, I'm gonna call you out on it. Or I'm gonna detach from you, or I may choose to deal with it. But that'll be me repeating the same cycle sometimes. You feel me?
That'll
So
be you repeating the same cycle. Sorry.
it'll be me repeating the same cycle if I
Oh,
sit in a situation knowing damn well what the hell going on. But
yeah.
now, if I don't know what's going on, hey, I
Yes.
might need to go through it again so that I can fully see. And so I haven't even put myself in situations that I know maybe I
Exactly.
have an idea that it's not right, but I'm so curious. I got to see.
And then you get shown like no other. Stop, mommy. But
Sometimes it's
yeah,
meant. Sometimes it's meant depending on your particular life path, like not necessarily your life path number, but your particular story, life story has to.
mm-hmm.
And I ain't saying it because I don't necessarily believe that
See,
these things are already written. No, you write these things as you
it's
go,
facts.
and if you're leading yourself down whatever path, it ain't got to be a path for real. If you're living and you're headed down your own journey of life, and you experience certain situations, that's just gonna be something that's added on to who you are and what you have learned in this life, and like the consequences behind that too though, because some of these life lessons have major consequences that you, even after that phase is over with, even after like you have the full understanding, you still got the consequences that was that though. So
Yeah.
you just have to like use that shit and love it, like appreciate it, find where you
Okay.
can appreciate these things at, even if
That's
you want to make it seem like it's so fucked up. No, there's
mm,
always a different perspective to look at it from, and another person can't necessarily tell you. Now, a person can spark that idea in you, but sometimes only you can perceive these things differently. Like, and when that is, well, this say 2 to 3 months, but I don't even know if we're talking about something specific or not. But I've had this to happen before, to where I'm like dead set on an idea and how I want to go about it, and then I may have a revelation that makes me be able to look at it from this angle, and I'm like, oh, okay.
just disappeared.
I'm glad I know that, because now I can look, I can perceive a different energy of that situation, and I can
Mm,
approach it differently based on what I know. And it's not going to negate what I already knew. Now I can look at my previous ignorance of the situation and know how that'll help me to like build up myself, even in ways that ain't got nothing to do with that situation. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
in 2 to 3 months, expect be looking for your old internal nuances, how you look at shit. Pay attention to when it
That'll
gets
help
like
me
broader,
focus. That'll help me focus and not like on
and
the.
expect new perceptions to be something that you become aware of. Like expect that. That's a seed right there that we planting right now. Expect to have different perceptions of what you already sitting in.
Period.
That's an expansion. We planting that seed right now. Within the next 2 to 3 months, the things you already know about, the things you already
It
experienced
is
and shit.
spring, isn't it?
It is right. It's the best time. So in 2 to 3 months, the things that you already perceived, the things you're already sitting in, you're gonna have even a wider scope of those, and that's gonna give you a bigger canvas and more to work with, and more opportunities that's gonna become available. That's gonna aid what's already going on.
Okay. Okay. Expect to have a broader way to see what I'm going through now.
Put it down. I'm just
And that
playing.
way I can it's like growing in the shoes.
Said don't write it down, but now write it down if you want to. Cause I'm just not getting back into writing.
I
But
might
writing
write
down
that
these
shit
things,
and put it on my wall so I can see it every day and be like, okay.
that's making that seed even more sturdy and founded with that number 4 energy we kept getting. It's making that seed be even more physical and making it make your mind make it make sense, because once you have your mind on something, you're gonna internally be um what's the word I'm looking for? You're gonna internally be observing and like, damn, that's not the word.
Will it in.
Yeah, but I can't think of the word right now.
Okay.
Analyzing. That's right. You'll be
Okay.
internally analyzing the space that even is an opportunity from, to where your spirit is gonna create things that's gonna manifest to where it's like, damn, how, how did that happen? But you got to know it happened because I said it was gonna happen. These things is real. When
That's
you
true.
create out of nothing, when opportunities come your way, or even negative things come your way, it literally came from you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know that, and you know that, but you can't fully know that until you peep it when it happens, and you remember that came from me, because it happens all the time, but we don't realizing that came from me. But once you,
I think I underappreciate my awareness, like
mm-hmm,
my yeah, you know what I'm saying?
and you're the fact that you created this whole situation, and you can create whatever you want under the terms and conditions of what your scenario is. You know what I mean? Not to say that you can't get up out of the scenario, but that'll just take more. It'll take time, and sometimes it may not. It just depends. Like, and you have these deep feelings, like, how do I say it? And I'm gonna say this because say you come across an idea, or something that you feel that you can will into reality, and the
Mm,
feeling of it is so strong to where you just become
do
so
it.
focused on it. Tomorrow it may not be as strong, or the next day, but if you have that, that's like an abundance of power, though. That's like an abundance of tools that can assist you into actually creating that. Don't downplay that,
Okay,
because if
that's
you
what I'm saying.
downplay it, tomorrow it's gonna be even more weakened, because you haven't really allowed it to circulate mentally, spiritually, and haven't tried to actually like research it, because of the fact that you don't even believe it for real. And then tomorrow it won't even, you may don't even remember it, or it may just, the energy of it may not be as powerful. And if you can keep that momentum, and I'm saying this,
That's some real
I'm working on the
stuff.
same shit. I'm saying this, but I be working on this myself. But if you can
I
keep
think
the
we all
momentum,
do. Mm-hmm.
yeah, if you keep that momentum, it'll come into reality in one form or another. And if it comes into reality in a form that you weren't expecting, now you
That's
can see how
facts.
things manifest even when you're not necessarily able to particularly set it up. No, they manifest
Yeah.
based off the energy, and then that'll allow you to understand energy more too. When you know that something came from what you were trying to pull in, and it comes in an abstract way, now you can understand, oh, it still has the same similar energy signature of what it was I was trying to pull in previously. Now you understand energy a little bit more. You know,
I'm sorry. Can you repeat? I need to work
I
on
was
that.
saying, like,
The last thing is
when you pull things in from when you create reality, and those things come and manifest themselves physically in a random, um what's the word I just used? In a random way, though, in a way that you not necessarily would normally, in a normal person's perspective, would think that they had anything to do, in an abstract way. But if you can understand it, I pulled that in, especially when you started out trying to create this reality. It was a abundance of energy when it came to you thinking about it. Once it does manifest itself, whether it looks like how you would have thought it looked in your brain or not, if you're able to
oh,
peep the fact that I did pull that in, and you can observe
and
the
remember
energy
that.
signature. Yeah, and you're able to observe the energy signature of what you were trying to pull in, and can see, oh, that is the same thing. That'll allow you to even
Mhm.
understand energy better, because sometimes these things
Yes.
won't even come in like how they would do it on a commercial or on TV. They come in a random ass, could even be quick. something that's not even long lasting type of way. But the fact that you pull that in yourself will allow you to understand that you can do that, and allow you to understand the energy and how things can manifest. And it don't got to be something that's like cookie cutter or something that's commercial or TV type shit. Like manifesting your dream life. You may
Right.
fuck, cause see, you may fuck around and see somebody else outside of you manifesting their dream life right after you had this deep seed of this is what you want to do. Okay, that's still an energy of manifesting a dream life, even though it may not be you. That's you pulling in that awareness still though. You know? And that happened to me, and I felt like spirit was gaslighting me for like 3 years. It would be so obvious that the shit that I'm trying to pull in, everybody else around me experiencing it. I may have a conversation with somebody, and now they telling me that they're experiencing everything that I wanted in my heart to experience. Or just like you wanting a car, and now you see everybody driving that car. I had to realize that's still me manifesting that situation to even be aware of. And that lets me know I am getting closer. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm finna dip though. Uh-oh.
Oh, my bad. I thought I was talking. Well, just for the last couple seconds. Yeah, and just man, you that's how you learn the ability of willing it in, because you
Yeah,
see it come in little ways that you might not appreciate, but you're actually learning how to ride a bike, and the bike is like with actually not getting what you want, but you know what I'm saying? Like throwing
yeah.
out
The bike is
the
representing
correct
that.
energy so that you can receive that correct energy back. And that's
Right.
like a whole little thing that we have to learn. I feel like women, it's a harder way to learn for women.
Well,
But not for real, but
it's harder and it's easier because we do got the ability to be more empathic when it comes to things that is surface level as hell. We can kind of probably, I'm gonna just say it, we might can sense the root cause of the situation, especially if you're aligned. You can sense that it has a root issue, or sense that, oh, this came from
wow.
somewhere else, where a person that's surface level or even a logical brain person may don't even consider any of that shit, and now they're missing a whole spectrum of what could be observed. When you can observe, but we've been brainwashed on to use the left brain, so now you don't even think to use those like questionings of, oh, I wonder what their mama is, how was their relationship with their father, and type shit like that. People don't necessarily think about to look at it deeper, but that's easier for our
Wow.
feminine energy to do. But at the same time, it is more harder for a feminine to express these things. But during this day and age, I'm not even gonna say that, because these things are being becoming more they're becoming more accepted and more considered. Because they say we're living in the age of the divine feminine or whatever the fuck that shit is. But
It's
I
just
believe
people
that to
need
a certain
to
degree.
people like you just need to open their mouth, because I needed to hear that. And that kind of went full circle with the question that I had asked before, and kind of let me know where I'm at. And since I know where I'm at, I know where somebody else may not be at.
Right.
Because what? Because it took me a minute to even understand, I mean, where the fuck I was at, and to really trust, like,
Yeah. Your
what I
feelings
know.
are warranted too. Like your experience, like those little subtle thoughts that you be like, no, that ain't got nothing to do with it. No, keep it in the back of your head and don't forget it. But even more so, consider it, because even if you don't forget it and you just keep it in the back of your head, once the whole play out of the situation happens, you gonna wish that you had actually considered that shit because it was a part of it.
Yeah,
But
let
anyway,
not don't let it go too late. Usually, like, I don't let it go. Like, usually I get grace. I get grace if it go too far. But I let it go too far. That's the fucking problem. I let it go too far. Now I'm like, damn, I gotta deal with this shit now.
what you mean you let it go too far? Like those little subtle knowings? That what you mean?
The subtle knowings,
You take it too far.
I just allow, I just
Oh,
allow.
I know what you're saying. You saying like some of the negative subtle knowings you allow too much energy.
I
Some of the,
did. I allowed that, especially last year. I
what I'm saying, the balance is important because just like you got the negative, you also have the positive. So if you're
I
pulling in
do
so
have
much,
those too.
so if I could be, because I could be more lighthearted and I'm aware of the positive subtle connotations that's going on. It's still wise for me to be aware of the negative ones too, to at least consider it. I wouldn't put too much energy on it because I ain't trying to manifest that shit, but at
Yeah.
least I can know it. And even when it comes to the positive shit, you don't want to let yourself down either. Like being so fucking positive over some shit that if you really be real in your heart, you know that
Mhm.
it would take a massive amount of work or a certain amount of work for this or other parties to even be involved in the same type of way for this to manifest. You don't want to be too high and then the shit don't manifest and now you don't have any self-belief. It's the centering. Like, don't even
Yeah.
give a damn whether these things manifest or not. You got to remember that. Even though you know,
Mhm.
the point is to manifest. A trick is to not give a fuck. Just throw it out there. It's like a wishing well. You throw a penny in the wishing well and you forget about it. And once the things do manifest, sometimes you forgot about it so much to where you forgot that you manifested. But still, like keep it in the
Yeah.
middle. You know what I'm saying? Keep it in the middle. You're a Libra. You got to find it's the balance for you. And it's the fairness, not just for somebody else, it's the fairness for you. And it's the fairness not just for you, but for other parties involved too, which will kind of put you in the middle to where you don't necessarily care whether it works or not. I just know I put the energy work in for me to materialize what I intended on, even if I don't. You know what I mean? Even if you don't
Exactly.
materialize those things,
That's
that
like
ain't the point.
really
Don't make that be the point.
exactly. It's
The point
really
is to
like
like put the energy work in order to do it, but don't hurt yourself in the process.
got you,
You know?
got you, got you. That makes total sense. That makes total sense. We live and we learn. And I want to continue to put the do the positive unknowings like with the intention of good. And that usually works out for me. But sometimes I
Yeah,
just distracted and or distracted in the doubt or the lack of remembering that that's something to do.
yeah. Distracted in like
But
trying
even
so
that's
hard to materialize it, thinking that I'm putting all this effort in because I need this outcome
oh
to happen.
yeah, that
Now, in
too.
certain situations, like on the job, yeah, maybe so. But if you're like in like a real life scenario, say you're trying to heal an ailment in your body, you know that you could, yeah, you should have like faith and belief that I am gonna heal myself and just leave it at that. I already know I'm gonna heal myself. Don't keep who I hope I heal myself. No, you know you're gonna heal yourself. So let it go and just keep doing the process, doing the process, doing the process. Before you know it, you gonna heal yourself. You already said that. You ain't think that, you know that type shit. Because you know that you
Exactly.
got the ability to do that.
Right.
So nature and life is going to pull in the knowings that you need, the tools that you need, and just continuing the process and working with the tools that you got. You are, especially when you see these things coming in, you know that that's going to work.
Yeah,
So you don't have to
exactly.
keep wondering and hoping and praying and being positive or being negative. No, that's something that we already cleared
Mhm.
that. We know it's going to work. And that goes to
Exactly.
those knowings. Like,
Mhm.
you know, when you had your baby, that the baby was gonna be fine. That's why she is. You know that she's gonna
Exactly.
be a healthy baby. Now, if you're so concerned, oh, I hope my baby is a healthy baby. Now you can put energy out that now it has an option to be polarized on either perspective. No, you just know.
Yeah.
Even when you don't know, you just know. You got to just decide that I know and let it go. And I'm saying
Oh,
that like it's an easy thing, and it ain't necessarily an easy thing when you live in
it's
this
easy
reality.
if you laugh at yourself.
Yeah, when you laugh at it
that
and you like whatever. It does make it easy to laugh about it though. But
that's
anyway,
it. That thank you.
you're welcome. I got the pee and it's starting to rain hard out here.
Hey,
I would take another call. I don't know if anybody want to come on, but I got to pee now. All right.
you a
And
car for this little snot nose girl. No,
it's so cute. But I'm gonna end it right there, y'all. Fuck with me. I
okay,
enjoyed this message.
bye.
I enjoyed this message. Bye, Bree.
Peace
Equilibrium.
out. Thank you.
All right, y'all.
Peace
Peace
out.
out.
Oh, stop. I wouldn't need to know.
Bye, y'all. I might do more of these on a later time. I might. Yeah, I will. I'll do more of those. Um, on a personal thing. Like that's probably more of a personal reading. But anyway, peace out, y'all. I'm gone. I got to use it.